We're in the Hamptons of New York in a fantastic location to shoot a very unique fashion shoot experience. Welcome to a very special episode of Framed. Framed. Okay, let me do my hair.
Whatever that you want, whatever that you need, you can be sure that I got it all, I got everything. Anywhere you are.
Hello everyone, I'm Melissa New and welcome to a brand new episode of Framed. We are here in the Hamptons with a very talented fine art and commercial photographer, Miss Aniela. And she today is going to challenge 6 talented artists to step out of their comfort zone. Let's do this.
What you want, I got what you need, I got it all. I need you here 'cause I got it all. Everyone else is nothing at all. Whatever that you want, whatever that you need, it's here 'cause I got it all. Look at anyone.
Miss Aniela in the house, everyone. From our live audience. Totally live audience. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Melissa.
Doing well?
It's really wonderful to meet you, really wonderful to be here.
Seriously.
I'm very excited.
I am
Thank
so
you.
excited. We had just a production meeting and getting to know the stylist and Matt and you. Like I was giddy last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so, anyways, thank you for having us. This is
Thank you.
incredible. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, dear. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
I knew she was going to do the
No, you
English accent.
didn't,
Yes, I
because
do.
I have envy. Miss Aniela, Natalie told me I can't have envy, but I envy your guys' accent. Let's get down to business here.
Yep,
You
let's
want
do
me
it.
to keep it to 2 questions, but I can't. I
Okay.
physically cannot. It is not in my physical capability.
You got 2.5.
2.5.
Two and a
Okay. Why photography, Natalie?
Well, I guess it's kind of like a bit like the common answer that a lot of photographers give, which is they're creative and photography has happened to become their medium of how they express that creativity.
Question number 1. Tell me your deepest, darkest secret.
Deepest, darkest secret? I haven't got any secrets.
Haven't got any secrets. Seriously, I think that this is such a fun partnership that you guys have of creating these amazing events and having such an impact. Like, tell me when you came into the picture. Like, first, let's do this. When did you fall in love with this chick?
Well,
Give me the juicy
I'm almost
detail.
there. I'm almost there. 6 years down the line. No, it's very easy to fall in love with Natalie. She's a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
So, and we've got lots in common. So, very, very easy. I think it was about 3 years, something like that.
I mean, when I was younger, I used to like to write and draw and things like that. And then photography is like this kind of way of enacting things that are in your head, ideas, or just love of visuals. And then I think for me, how I eased into it was purely because of digital photography and the immediacy of producing an image, putting on a computer, playing with that image, and then also, really importantly, the internet and the role the internet's played in being able to share all that work.
Yeah, very, very easy to fall in love with Natalie.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me about her as a talent, because obviously you're a creative and you know good photography. Tell me your thoughts about her as an artist.
Well, when I first saw Natalie's work, I was blown away by lots of elements of it. Just the simplicity of how she pulls everything together, and just natural composition.
And that has produced the persona, the Miss Aniela persona that I started to construct 6-7 years ago now.
And what is that? What was that persona?
Well, it was kind of just a way for me to share the self-portraits I was making initially at the time, when I was still a student and had spare time and things. And Miss Aniela just became the name that I used, the pseudonym if you like, to put my work online. And then it stuck as an artist name, and then it's kind of evolved also into a business name now. And it just feels right to keep it, because it's my middle name. Aniela's my middle name. So it's just become a kind of like alter ego a little bit, but just a way to separate the art from my own self, my personal self.
Use of lighting, posing, just everything that when you look at it, you think that's someone beyond their years, someone that's got lots of experience in doing this and has learned the trade, whereas she hasn't. It's been very much a natural talent.
I was definitely the kind of like, I don't know whether the geek's the right word, but the you know, the kind of swot, kind of quiet, very quiet, picked on for being quiet and shy. And it's funny because in ways I'm kind of still that, you know, introverted and happily so. But also photography has really brought me out of my shell, if you like, or just allowed me to really express myself in a way that's proud and happy, you know. So I don't know, it's like a mix of growing with photography, but also being proud of who I already am and who I've always been as a young person and who I am now. So yeah, that's definitely been, the photography is my life. It's brought everything to my life, the social aspect, the artistic aspect, even the relationship I have with Matthew is, our photography is what we do together. So it's blossomed everything out in terms of just my whole current disposition.
And you coming into the picture, I mean, she talked about how she was the reserved one, and she was, you know, and here you're the, I mean, they're not seeing it yet, but they will. They'll see that you're crazy and fun. And
yeah, maybe.
So, I mean, you guys are a good partnership. And talk to me about the working relationship. Like, what is it that you help her do?
Well, like Natalie mentioned, I mean, I sort of class myself as the left brain, and I'm very much happy to take that role. I think being in a partnership, especially in a creative partnership, you know, if you've got someone who's doing the creative side, if they have to worry about the left side logistic elements,
Yes.
it can interfere, and it does interfere. So I like to take all of that on board.
Okay, listen. Today is a unique day because you're combining a framed episode with a workshop with the fashion shoot experience that you guys do, that you and Matt do. And we have 6 talented artists here that are sharing this with you. And what are you hoping, without looking right at them, what are you hoping that they get out of today?
Well, since going from workshops to fashion shoot experience, you know, it's been mostly liberating because people are set free to shoot. But it's really interesting to put a little bit more of a workshop format back into this special day today, this fashion shoot experience fusion with workshop. You know, there are many opportunities potentially on a fashion shoot experience where we could really dissect a certain moment and say, okay, you put the light here, put the model here, have a pose like this. change the lens, do this, do that. There's always little opportunities where there could be a potential workshop in every second of the day.
Yeah.
So it's really an opportunity that I'm interested in seizing, in being able to actually talk more in depth about whichever situation I'm, like in my demo shoot and then in the later shoots, to actually be able to talk more about what I'm thinking. I just want to talk to you a little bit about what my plans are with shooting Annabelle in this room. Now, really what I want to do, I mean, she looks amazing. Her dress is just one big sculptural shape in itself. And really what I want to do is just find the best way to convey that in a shot that also uses this wonderful location and does it justice as well. Maybe I should...
I like it when she's looking at them like that.
I've just untethered myself.
Or ignoring them.
In my haste. I'm wondering whether we should place them on the other side of her and have it as part of a wider shot within... containing it within...
Okay, so this one, take it.
How is it working with your significant other? How is it? We're getting personal here. Do you want him to leave so you can be honest?
I'll just probably make him go red, cringe. Where do I start? Like at the beginning, because I've known him for most of my photographic journey. I think I was starting my whole Miss Aniela self-portrait thing just a little while before we met. And then when we met, he was working in another job and I was just getting on with my self-portrait thing. I was becoming self-employed kind of slowly then as well, a few months after leaving university. And he was still part of the photography to start with at the beginning, because he would sometimes help me take a self-portrait or set up the camera, and I would be able to go into place in situations where it was hard to do it by myself anyway. So he was a bit of a human tripod to start with, and then became a little bit more of a collaborator. And actually the pivotal moment where he became more of a collaborator is when we started to visit abandoned buildings and do this series of images in abandoned buildings. And that to me logistically was just something I wouldn't want to do myself anyway. But also I found that when we walked into a building and we kind of like had the same idea of what we would do, and we just go into it, without a word, because we had to keep quiet and just be really, stealthy. And so he would just shoot and give me all the exposures I needed, and then I would take over for the post-production and then put together what kind of makes sense of what we'd gathered in terms of that raw material.
And take that off her shoulders. So literally, when the time comes to produce the creations, then there's no distraction.
So you are, as a producer, it's location and models and the business side, right? Is it more the marketing and the business and all that?
It's basically everything. I don't really like to sort of put a list of my job titles, because it's just I'd run out of paper, really.
Right. By helping people understand what the business side is, because as creatives, they just want to create art, but it's the business side that sometimes is very difficult for artists.
Yeah. And it's very true, and I can understand that, because if Natalie had to take on board everything that I had to do for this event, she'd be a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
She'd be come sort of shooting time, she'd have all these other things in her head, and like I say, it would be a distraction.
We started workshops in like 2009, 2010 I think, and these workshops were about kind of like making a levitation picture, and they were mostly kind of studio based, but we really hungered to do something in a more grander location, and also we wanted to give people more shooting time. We didn't want to kind of like stand there talking at people for ages. We wanted it to be more organic and free and artistic. And we also wanted to just fill a location with models and just have pure shooting. So the fashion shoot experience was born from all those desires coming together.
Sherry in the house, everyone. Sherry in the house. Theresa.
Yes.
Let's first start out with, you are funky fresh. Deborah,
Hi.
we're just gonna get all nice and cozy right
Let's
here.
do that.
Let's just have a little girl chat. We like
Let's
to
roll.
call you Scotty. She's funny. We're all a little bit exhausted, a full day of shooting, but she's funny. Like,
That's
don't
when
let
I'm
her
funny.
cheat you.
It's when everyone's so tired that they're loopy. That's when my sense of humor sort of connects.
But you
I always photographed. I started with like one of those little Instamac, you know, like. You did.
Focusing on face. So I like it. I like it very much in terms of the shape and the composition. I'm not so sure where colour, where this picture would be going in terms of its colour identity, because you've got these yellow walls and you've got her dress. That's one thing that's kind of puzzling me a little bit at this point. And it's important to, I think, to articulate to people the indecisions that you have and the things you want to try that might not even work, you think.
and it's okay. It's okay to make that mistake.
Absolutely okay, yeah. That's how I work. I find it really hard. I've never been able to really plan an image right down to composition. It's just not the way I work. I used to think it was a deficiency, you know, that one day I'd be able to do that. But I really, actually, honestly don't think that is a way, necessarily. You might be the kind of photographer who does that. I know photographers do sketches and things like that. But some photographers, and I realise, again, it's kind of a left brain, right brain thing, is where you should also let your subconscious work a little bit when you're shooting, which sometimes means that you don't always know how to spell out on paper what you're going to do. But it's about feeling it, and it's about letting it kind of happen organically.
And I also like Natalie's influence because she inspires me to really breathe, just to take a moment and to walk around every angle of the subject. You know, whereas I might walk in and try to sum it up really quickly. And so it's really nice to be learning to do that more. You know, to give myself the luxury to slow down and to really, you know,
Definitely.
look at all sides.
Why are you here?
To learn more about creating that fantasy with the texture, and because when I look at the work that Miss Aniela does, there's this feeling, this texture, this, you know, some of her work is, you know, she says subconscious, kind of dreamy, and you know, it's really, I find her work very fascinating.
Little moments caught on 3x5s. Happiness shines like big blue skies. The timing is now just so right.
So for example, let's say you came into this room and you placed the model by the door and you thought, okay, I want a really nice picture where she looks as if the wind's blowing in. But it might not work because you might not have the right light coming in or the right effects, or you might find that a door frame gets in the way and it just might not work. And so there might be something telling you that actually let's face her the other way and let's do a shot inside the room, and there might be a certain beam of light coming in that inspires you and makes you think that actually this is a better idea for this particular moment. Obviously it depends what lighting you're using, but it's about listening to your instinct as well. It's really important, I think, because I think some of my best pictures, ones that I'm proud of or ones that people like, they are pictures where I didn't kind of plan too heavily or shut down my options too much, where I kind of went with the force, if you like. That force might be in the shooting, and it also might be in the processing. That's also important. There's been many pictures where I've actually been surprised at the processing, because in camera it didn't look very interesting, and then in processing it suddenly blossomed. Or the other way around. There might be a picture that just looks, there's something about the way it was shot that I think, okay, that's the one. That's got to do something with that one. Yeah, go in. Couple of the wire.
This side or that side? What do you want? This one you want to take, this one. And like, about four.
Now, do you want us to move the coffee table back a little? See where it's coming in? Or is that bothering you?
I'm not sure about moving anything just yet because
You're still playing.
yeah, still playing with composition, so I don't want to kind of waste anyone's energy moving something. But no, I mean it's good you've noticed it. It's just I'm trying to get what the main composition is going to be, and then move anything protruding. I'm still unsure that this is the final composition. I like how the white table fits into the frame.
Well, why did you choose to come here? Like, why here?
Well, I've been following Natalie on Flickr for like years because I think we had a similar kind of beginning with the self-portraiture and like photoshopping and that kind of stuff. And her work has always been so much more refined than mine. And she's just has these amazing ideas about art. So, you know, I got, when she put out her self-portraiture book, I got that, and but I've also been watching Framed for the past year, and I've been like addicted. Like, when's the next one coming out?
Yay, you're framed.
So when I saw the opportunity, I was like, two of my favorite things.
I want to show them a couple of things. I want to kind of talk to them a lot about everything that goes into producing a shoot like this and putting together all the ingredients. And also just kind of like, I mean, really the big question for a lot of my portraits is, you know, the question that I have in my head when I'm shooting it is, how do I best fuse together this location and this model? How do I make the perfect combination of them too? It's difficult because you're trying to take like an interior shot almost, and also a nice portrait in the same thing. It's not hard to get both looking great in the same image. Sometimes you do that in one image, sometimes you do it across a series of images, like a fashion story.
Why are you here? Is it the fashion? Is it Miss Aniela? Is it a chance to share your story and share your passion to others? Why are you here?
I'm here because I know the level that I'm at, and I know that I'm a beginner, and I know that there's just such a broad of what I need to learn, and the best way for me to learn is actually hands-on, watching how other people do it, having them explain to me, having them help me, whether it's lighting, camera settings, what have you. That's how I learn the fastest.
On a more philosophical level, I also want to kind of keep making references really to the fact that you can change your mind, you can make mistakes. I don't really believe in the word mistakes. I think it's more about kind of like just feeling your way through a shoot as well as all knowing. Sometimes we don't always know everything, but we feel things, and it's important to allow that instinct to flow a little bit.
I love her work, and I love that I kind of followed her on Twitter and whatever.
All of those little social media things, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah.
Whatever it is now. On Flickr. Oh. No social media. But anyway, she's kind of like me in a sense where I see her style changes, and you know, she was doing her thing, and then she's doing self-portraits, and then that kind of stopped, and then she moved on to some fashion type photography, but then she starts mixing art with it too, so I can kind of see how she's just kind of changed. And I talked to her about it. She said she really wasn't, it's not that she got bored with anything, she just expanded, and that's kind of the way I am. I mean,
that's where you're at.
Even though I love sunsets and landscaping. I don't really do much of it anymore, although I love it, but I just kind of moved on to something more challenging.
Selection, processing, and the final release of how you actually present those pictures. Those are all really important stages as well, so it certainly doesn't stop at when you turn your camera off at the end of the day.
Did you come here? Why here?
I will say honestly, divine intervention. I happen to be on Facebook, and I don't even remember how I began, or what prompted me to become a fan of the Frame Network. But you guys are you're a great resource for information, and this opportunity popped up in my newsfeed, and I think I was the first one to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I mean, I signed up immediately because I just knew it would be as good of an experience as it has been. It really.
So why, looking at Miss Aniela, what is it about her that you wanted to come and learn from?
She's more than a fashion photographer. I would say she is a hybrid of a graphic designer and a painter. I mean, she literally paints with her eyes and her computer, and she just ties so many different formats together, and she described this so much more articulately as
With a beautiful accent.
British people often do. I just sound like a wanker. I don't know.
But really, what really drives me is creating powerful images that make people say wow, whether that's in the styling or whether that's something I've done in Photoshop as well. I want to create wow images.
But why did you decide to come here? Why fashion in this crazy location?
Because before, I have never experienced real fashion, and I wanted to do it for the first time, and I saw this opportunity of working with amazing people like you and Miss Aniela. So it was something new to me that I wanted to explore more. I come from my background in photography. It is very classical. It's old school. I still shoot film.
Good.
And I still develop my photography, my own prints. So when I work with the composition of my photos, it's totally different because I'm not digital yet completely. I don't do much retouching my photos. So, this is all new to me. And to do the high fashion, it's something exciting that I want to, explore more.
Wow. You were shy, but yet self-portraits is where you started. So how is that? To me, it's very vulnerable to take a photo of myself. And so here, can you kind of explain how, is that what brought out kind of your inner artist? And was that vulnerable to put yourself on camera? Because your self-portrait work is amazing. It's amazing.
Well, the thing about self-portraiture is I guess there is a level of confidence in the whole process of taking a picture of yourself and putting it out online to the world. But it's also it's a process you have great control over, because you're the one taking the picture, and you're the one choosing from the pictures you take, and then you're the one also processing the picture, which could be extreme processing in some cases, and then also putting that picture online with the title and however you choose to kind of actually appropriate it. So I don't know, it's kind of like a way that a shy person could potentially actually get over the insecurity they might normally have about the way they look.
So let's talk about you for a second before we go into photography. Who is Sherry?
Who is Sherry?
Yeah.
I'm this really fun, loving, creative person that likes to share the art process with folks like yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is it that you love about the creative process?
Well, I guess it's funny, the other day I was reading I think it was Emerson quote where he said, "The love of beauty is taste, but the process of creating art is beauty." Or no, excuse me, the process of beauty is art. And I just feel like, between Emerson and Steven Tyler, when he once said, art is an expression of our heart. I just feel like in my portrait photography now, what I like to do is to do something from to create an obtainable fantasy, if you will, when I photograph my subjects, so that it will tell their story in one frame.
Wow.
I never thought of myself as a techie because when I first grabbed a camera, it was more intuitive, and now I've really had to access that part of my brain where I'm having to really grow. Like, who would have thought I would have been learning all this technology in order to stay in the game? But it's fascinating.
Really?
So, yeah.
I love that.
So
it's fun to see a woman that, you know, has that emotional side but also loves the technical. How did you get there? Like, talk to me about the transition from just someone that was an inner artist that was trying to, you know, get to know her inner artist to now who you are today. Like, where was the transition?
Well, I guess looking back, there was, for me, when I started to put my self-portraits online and had this kind of like explosion of exposure and a million hits or whatever in 6 months, and this became like the story angle. And even though I was pleased with it at the time, I was aware that it was all a big kind of like, it was all like a news angle, a popularity thing. And then there were like Microsoft and other things like you mentioned, they kind of caught on to want to hear from the story of this girl who'd unleashed her self-portraits online and become popular. And it was all great, but I was also aware that it was just the beginning of an artistic career. It wasn't necessarily the be-all and end-all. So this whole idea of making it and you know, becoming kind of like this overnight success, it was nice, but it wasn't the main substance. The main substance for me was to how that self-portraiture was going to move on and become something else, develop and evolve.
Like, you've got funky style. I love that everyone here represents a certain type of coolness. And you've got some coolness. Is it weird being on this side of the camera?
It is, yeah. No, it really is. Although my husband likes to pull the video out and do random things while I'm not paying attention, so I have some little experience. Still.
Okay.
It's still not the most comfortable thing. I really like the idea of like conceptual portraiture and taking like people's ideas about themselves and bringing them out, like how they want the world to see them. Whether it's like some crazy fantasy or, you know, just a good solid image that represents who they, you know, see themselves as. My biggest thing I want people to know is that it's really important to follow your passion, like whatever comes of it, you know? And that's kind of where I'm at in my life, is like, just you gotta do it because you don't know unless you try. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be fun one way or the other.
And I can't wait to watch to see what happens, because I've seen your portfolio and I see the creative just wanting to just come out of you.
Yeah.
And now that you'll have full time, I can't wait to see what
Yeah, no,
you're
it's
gonna
gonna be
do.
pretty amazing. Yeah, I mean, I already have like a million things going on in my head about like, oh, I'll have time to do this and this and this. I just have to find all the people to do it with.
Exactly.
So it's good.
Well, good
It's
for
fun.
you. Well, thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you for having this setup and you know, letting us be a part of it.
I love it.
It's good.
Not get all the lines kind of perfectly married up to the side of the picture. It's almost like they concentrate more on the model who's like the commanding force in the picture. So even if this is just a very rough example, but like, what can I describe it? It's almost like she's the most important thing to get into perspective. So even if it involves cropping something up, it's about getting the right perspective on her.
Right.
So sometimes wonky lines are not a big deal if the person in the picture is a certain enough shape to command the presence of the image. But it's sometimes hard to figure out the difference between that and a wonky picture, because sometimes pictures just look wonky, and if you're getting a lot of context, then sometimes it is important to not get something wrong.
Go out and kiss in the rain and climb trees in their couture gown, and kids in tutus and fields and little vintage bow ties, and that's what I want to do, is different things. Something that is artistic and for me and helps me progress and on an artistic level.
So with all of those, you know, looking at your portfolio, and you've got your fashion, and you've got your families and weddings, everything that you just talked about, what is it that really, like, you know, obviously you're here at a huge fashion production. What is it that just makes you wanting more? Is it everything? Or is there one thing? If you had to choose one thing.
If it had to be one thing, it would be fashion.
And I loved every minute, all the beauty in it. I'm not really trying to put them down, but when I saw your face.
Scott, we hung out with you in Vegas for film, season 2. Now we get you here in the Hamptons for a fashion shoot experience. What next?
What's next? I don't know. I'm looking for adventure in my life. I told my wife I was born like 20 years early, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I think it's interesting that we're in this, I mean, we're in the kitchen. This is like the most crazy kitchen ever, and someone that builds homes. Like, what did you think when you came to this location?
My eyes are always moving around, so
Really?
I mean, I look at the trim work and the molding and the carpentry work, but then the artistic style, how they designed it. So I'm always looking. So then I look out the window and see a sunset or something, or then I start.
Right.
So I'm always looking at, my eyes are always moving. So I'm a visual person. So what I tell my children, just go for it. If you don't be afraid, you know, because fear is the biggest thing that holds us back.
Yeah.
It's like you guys starting the Frame Network. You could have just said, well, we really can't do that. And Lane could have said, I don't think it's going to work because it's really hard. And look where you're at. I mean, it's that positive attitude, not giving up. I mean, you guys, the sky's the limit too for you. I mean, what you're going to do.
For me, there's a lot of pleasure in producing something beautiful and tangible. I mean, when I say tangible, I don't necessarily mean an actual physical print. Most of my images I just see on this computer screen. I do have exhibitions, but at the moment I'm just working on lots and lots of work and just putting it online and putting it on a website, and also client work as well that goes to the client. So producing something tangible, producing something in front of a completed piece, I get real satisfaction from seeing completed piece. Usually it's one picture, sometimes it might be a story. Producing that beauty, visual beauty.
We're just having a moment.
We're just basically patting each other on the back.
We're just like having a girl crush here, of talking about how we want to hang out.
Total girl crush. I know. I'm impressed by what you and your brother have achieved. I came from, or grew up in a family business, and
Did you?
I just think that it's awesome when you know how having your own business is. It's an obsession. It's a religion. That you're in that church every day, 24/7, and it's great that you have someone else in there with you.
We're with host Megan right here. She's going to be talking about the show. Why? First of all, what do you want to do? I mean, I already asked you this, but let's talk about why fashion. Of everything that you do, why fashion?
I think fashion integrates, as Miss Aniela was speaking to earlier, so many different types of art. It's you're not limited when it comes to fashion. I like the stylized aspect of it. I like the collaboration. I mean, you really do depend on the talents and the synergy of a lot of people, and I think that's really interesting and keeps it very challenging. And I don't know, photography in general, it's kind of like golf. It's a game that can be played but not won. Yeah. My husband's a golfer, so we that's how we look at it. You got all the quotes around your house. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I will never master it, and I like that. I would be so bored.
It's a constant challenge. Why is it that you decided, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this? How did you find your style?
Well, there's a few, when I kind of psychoanalyze myself, I see there's a few things going into the whole process. Like, I think, like I said, with my self-portraiture, there's been a lot of compositing in my early work. So you can see how that's come through to the fashion series. But also with fashion, you've got things that kind of anyone pretty much can kind of put together. I mean, obviously in this case it's very, very special. Putting together a styling team is not necessarily easy, putting together the location, everything like that. But you're in a situation where capturing it is almost like sometimes not enough. Sometimes it's a case of making that picture extra special, extra you. Because basically the more processing you do to a picture, not that I'm saying this is purely the reason why you would do it, but the more processing you do to a picture, the more you're making it unique, the more you're making it inimitable, the more you are making it yours.
I would like one of those little Instamac, you know, like.
You did?
And I used to put my comforter in every door and have my girlfriends pose, and I did that all my life. But growing up, it was like photography for my family wasn't like, like a good career that I should be. They wanted doctors, they wanted architects or lawyers. So I did. I went to medical school. That's how I ended up here. And in this country, yeah, I went. I studied, and then I met my husband through the process and got pregnant. Went back to school, but then when I started shooting my kids, like all my, I said, no, this is what I have to do. I love photography.
What do you love about it?
I love how I feel when I shoot a precious moment that I want to remember. Every time I feel that life goes so fast, and then if you capture every moment about it, it's beautiful. And I love my life, and I just want to capture as much as I can.
So I think, like I say, a creative partnership, it's really important, especially nowadays. Sort of years gone by, things were a lot more simpler when the artists could just be artists. They didn't have to worry about so much. But now as you guys know, this is a massive production, and there's been so much that's had to go in, hard work, groundwork that's had to go into this, and to be able to do it on your own, but even then it's not, we say a partnership, we've got a whole team of people helping us.
We learn so much about photography ourselves through these events. Other people, we meet amazing other people from all over the world who come to our shoots. They learn, we all basically just feast on this photography heaven.
With Natalie, does she come to you with, looking at an image and getting your opinion and getting that stamp of mad approval?
She does. Usually, I'm very brutal with the processing side. I'll go over and I'll be like, that's not
really
working. But then on the flip side of that, if she's working on something, she's struggling, I'm like, no, that it's there.
So you're encouraging when you need to be.
Yeah.
This is something that I would have been very intimidated at first when I was suggesting the idea. I was like, what? 5 models, 10 photographers, 4 styling people? Oh my God, how are we going to kind of get them all ready in time and all this? So he's been a big driving force behind that, logistically, but also creatively. He's kind of, I think the best way we put it is that he's a left brain and I'm the right brain. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just swivel to one side. I want to see if obviously if you face that way then I can't see your face, but I just want to try this. So yeah, and then just turn your face towards me as much as you can, like that. Yeah, I think that'll work nicely because that side of the dress is almost fuller. I don't know about composition on this one, but I just want to see how she looks.
Like the best side of the Christmas tree.
Yeah, I like that a lot more.
We do have a very close relationship in terms of the final creation of the image. We both know what we want.
We know what we want, we know what looks good. We have very much the same kind of taste when it comes to what we think looks good in fashion pictures and what we think looks kind of one-dimensional or dreary. We all have the same kind of like inspiration in terms of the magic behind producing an inspiring fashion image. My role really on the shoot is to do all the kind of like is to be the purely creative one who comes in with a camera and just shoots the model. Matthew lays everything, all the foundations to achieving that final outcome. He pours all the ingredients in to producing, a really fine recipe, if you like.
And he does a fine job.
The first thing I do is location.
Yeah.
Find out where you're shooting first. Everything else will fall into place. Usually it's a location, styling. Once we've got that sorted, we approach a lot of our clients and say, look, we've got this great project coming up, and most people are like, yeah, okay. And then the budget starts coming in, and we start working all the logistics out from there. And it's a really nice formula, and it works.
So it's just her face is not totally. I like the shadow, but just so that her eye comes out just a little bit more. There always will be obstacles. I mean, see the fashion show experience as an analogy of life. There's always going to be things that go wrong, or challenges and mishaps. But the important thing is to see the opportunities and not the obstacles, because there always will be obstacles. And sometimes, admittedly, I get too caught up in the obstacles and thinking, oh God, what about this? Oh God,
What could happen? And what,
Yeah. But then you've got to look at the opportunity you've got, the house that you're in, the models that you've got around you. This kind of, you could call it once in a lifetime opportunity in terms of that uniqueness of the combination. And you've got to seize hold of that opportunity and make the most of it. And that's really what life is, I think. I mean, certainly I'm finding more and more parallels between photography and life. A photography and a personal relationship that's also a photography relationship is really interesting. It's also hard as well. I must admit, like when we're at home and we're planning it, and they're kind of in each other's faces all day, and it's like, you're doing your thing all day together. And the friendships we have with people as well that come to our events is really special as well. We see a lot of the same photographers coming time and time again to our events, and they become real friends, and it's really lovely because that's become our kind of social hinging through something that we love. And that's the best kind of friendship, I think, is when you have that commonality and you can share that with your partner as well and become this whole nice one big happy party. So it's wonderful. This is what I live for, this kind of situation.
But we're Natalie and I, we are a partnership, but like I said earlier, it's a big team that we work with. We've got I'm not going to call them back staff, because they're not. Everyone's pretty much equal. I don't want everyone to feel their value, because everyone pulls their weight.
Absolutely.
We really love doing it for ourselves and just going out and being it, and not waiting for anyone to give you permission to do such and such, or to give you a certain job. And we found that that's certainly been the way that we have become more successful is by doing that, is by just going and living and breathing what you love doing.
Having you a part of this production made it that much greater for us. I mean, it really is all the work that you put into this. Thank you. Seriously, this is an amazing
I
experience.
genuinely do enjoy it, I must admit.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're good at it. You're good at what you do, so thank you.
Yeah, we've been doing it a while. So.
Bearing in mind everything I've talked about today, really I just want you to put it into practice. Obviously, with such delightful visuals to look at, it's not very difficult to want to get your camera out and shoot anyway. But really, what I want you to bear in mind is just with your pictures, conveying the location and the model within either one shot or a series of shots that you feel really show off both of those elements. And that really is a challenge in itself, because the location screaming out at you, the model screaming out at you, and when you have both screaming out at you in the shot, sometimes it's hard to know when to discriminate and to reduce certain parts and to focus in on one part and to come back and show more. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to play around with the balance between those elements, just as I was doing with Annabelle earlier. And obviously you will be using different lenses and trying out on different angles and also manoeuvring the lights. You're going to be in pairs and you're each going to have a model, and really I encourage you to shoot independently in your pairs, and the other person to be kind of on hand to help swivel the light or move something round or feedback on anything that they see in the frame that's disrupting your shot. And then for you to be able to swap over and the other to do the other for the other person. And it's just really helpful to look at it from that point of view, because sometimes other people see things you don't see yourself, and so it just helps really refine that shot, especially when you're dealing with so many things that are in a location like this. So we're going to have 3 models, and you're going to go to a different room of the location and shoot.
3 separate areas, 3 models, 3 pairs, and let's have some fun. Get some cracking images, and we'll have a look at them at the end.
the roller coaster ride is what life is, and you've really got to look at how long you are alive for, and imagine you are at the end of your life and you're looking back, and you know, there's no point getting safely from one end of life to the other just because you feel like you're living your life for somebody else, or even for some kind of invisible sense of anxiety or fear about something. You've really got to take hold of what you think your purpose is of life. And usually your purpose, the door to your purpose, is through your passion. So like I was saying earlier about photography, you know, I have a passion for creating beautiful images, but I'm still asking myself the question, why? Because beautiful images are beautiful images. What is the purpose of them? Where is it going? What is this passion door? Where is this passion door leading to? And I think it's really important to be honest with yourself, no matter how scary the implication of whatever you're being honest about is. There's been plenty of times, well, certain key moments in my life where I feel like I've been really scared to do something, but I knew I had to do it. And then I've got through it, and things have got much better than they were before. And Matthew as well, my partner, has been through similar situations as well. And he's been like, you know, I've been through a certain situation where everything was just falling down around me, and I was like, well, so what? Just keep going, just just keep rebuilding life. And we both think like that. And sometimes it's really helpful to go through difficult situations because you come through the end and you realise that, well, it makes you stronger. Like they say, a smooth sea never made a skillful sailor. Mm-hmm. And that's a really nice little saying because it reminds you that these hardships are what characterises life, but it also what brings out the good and what brings out the passion and what brings out the whole purpose of life. Everyone should be honest with themselves about something they want to do, whether that's in their personal life or their career or their photography or whatever. So embrace the unknown and don't have any fear and don't have anxiety and don't have envy. And it's easier said than done, but always remember that those feelings are just pointless and they won't get you anywhere. And they just basically hamper you. Mm-hmm. So envy, get rid.
Envy, that is easy in this industry to have envy, isn't it? Well, I envy you, sorry. But I love it. Great advice. Thank you so much. I think she needs to write a book.
Cuando el mundo al girar como un rojo globo que
I'm Sherry Canella, and I've just been framed.
en el suelo no están, mi ancla tú serás. Soy famosa en el lugar por inquieta y no puedo parar, pero yo te busco sin cesar, mi ancla tú serás. Extraña es la imagen que doy, me quiere.
My name is Theresa Duggan, and I've just been framed.
Moda de hoy, pero tú me abrazas donde estoy, es que tú me amas tal y como soy. Causas risa, me dirán como una princesa, me tratarás y me pierdo, tú me encontrarás, mi ancla tú serás. Extraña
I'm Deborah Berard, and I've just been framed.
y me quieren cambiar a la moda de hoy, pero tú me abrazas donde estoy, es que tú me amas tal y como soy. Cuando el mundo al girar como un rojo globo que al cielo va y mis pies en el suelo no están, mi ancla tú serás.
My name is Scott Rodenberg, and I've been framed.
Hello, my name is Megan, and I've been framed.
Hello, my name is Megan, and I've been framed.
My name is Mildred Lee, and I just been framed.
Hi, my name's Lennard, and I've just been framed.
I'm Miss Aniela, and I've just been framed.